Gets played after a win.
Oh, it's the hair day, boys. What's going on here? The wild hair.
All right, thanks for Protest the Hero. Again, we're only playing that song when the Leafs win. It doesn't hit the tone when they lose. Like it's not right. Leafs win. Bit of a sloppy affair tonight. Bit of an ugly affair tonight. This is not exactly, I think, how most people drew it up, but they are without Mitch Marner and Simon Benoit, I should add. But the Leafs win at the Bell Center, buddy. And like I said, I don't really care. You win in Montreal in front of those fans on a rowdy Saturday night. It feels good.
For sure. I don't think any of those Leaf boys leaving that building tonight care how it got done. They're all thrilled. Just everybody leaving, having fun for a good night in Montreal. Yeah. So there's a couple ways to look at that game for sure. And I think the one that I will overwhelmingly look at is that the Leafs and Habs always play close games. It's regardless of what team's good, regardless of what team's bad. They came into Toronto on the first game of the season, and the Leafs had to score 2 empty netters to tie it, to send it to overtime. They play tight games. They always go to overtime. They're like this. And it's just this weird thing. It's like the Steelers and Ravens. Whenever they play, like regardless of who's good or bad, they're just a close, hard-fought game. So I'll lean on that side of it as opposed to a lot of what I saw tonight. But yeah, fun for those Leaf fans in attendance tonight to leave that building with a win because it's been a long time.
I've been in that building on Saturday nights when the Leafs have won, and it's actually not that fun. You want to get out of there.
Oh, yeah, like,
you want to roll
head to the hotel room and maybe change out of the jersey.
You want to change. You want to get that quick change in before you hit some of the other establishments of the evening, but you don't want to linger too long, and you don't want to be a little too overly confident in that.
I've never been for a Montreal Leafs.
This is the most respect that I can show to Montreal because they're the franchise that I clearly hate the most. It drives me crazy when the Leafs have performances like the way that they started this hockey game. And when you say the whole, like, man, Montreal, they just play close games. It just feels like Montreal, throughout their stretch of being a bad team, still gets up for the Leafs game. And Toronto doesn't get up for it the same way, which is kind of infuriating, but it is what it is. But I digress. That barn is Mecca. That barn is nothing. There's not one that even comes close. There's not one that can compare. When you're in there, there is like it's like the building breathes hockey. The fans know what the hell's going on. They rise to the right moments. It's perfect. Like it's actually, you have to see a game there if you're a hockey fan.
I've seen a game, but not Leafs Habs. I was there for Leafs Dallas Stars, which doesn't quite hit it. Oh, sorry, Habs Dallas Stars, which is,
I was like Leafs Dallas Stars.
Sorry.
I was like,
I'm doing Leafs talk. I'm a Dumbo. I'm reading Leafs below you, and it's like I'm saying it, but Habs Dallas Stars. Mike Modano shot one under the bar. It was quite an enjoyable experience. Yeah, no, it was like later Dallas. Like he was kind of, but it was fun. It was good. Yeah, I enjoyed myself. And the thing that, like, you know, not to take away from the game ops at like a lot of places that you go and watch a hockey game. When you go there, it's super understated. There's not a lot of you know, the act is the game. You're going there to watch the game. You're not there for the frills. You're there to crush a few Coors Lights, maybe hack a dart at the intermission and enjoy some hockey. That's what you're there for.
You're correct. You're absolutely correct. Anyways, it's a great place to watch a hockey game. Leafs won tonight. I'll start with this. Like, let's start with the game-breaking moments in this one. Let's go to the game winner in Tavares because this is a great goal. Like, this is a really nice goal. Like, it's not beautiful in terms of the way that it ends up actually in the net, but I just like the breakout that Tavares has a couple of just nice little plays on it. Make sure that he gets to his spot, beats the Montreal defender to the inside, and make sure that the Leafs end up getting a goal. Like, go into the tough areas, buddy. That's how you win hockey games.
This is what I like the most about it. Really good, responsible play by Brody. Bit of a grenade. It's waist high. And that's just, you know, that classic elite John Tavares hand-eye. Knocks it down, gains the zone, and like you said, just beats his man bad. Pearson right to the front of the net. Nothing there. Scores one off his wiener. You know, he win on a Saturday night. You love to see that. But yeah, like,
I love those goals.
For sure. Like, because you know why that's a great goal? It's not about like the prettiness of it. Clearly, it's not like a highlight reel thing, but it's that this is a veteran guy who's stronger than you, beating a worse player to the spot and getting position and being there for a puck to bounce in and off of you. And they obviously needed these little moments tonight that happened. You know, there wasn't a lot of sustained pressure in the Habs zone, I felt tonight. Didn't think that they're outside of a couple of shifts, maybe. They needed these sort of game-breaking moments like you mentioned there. And this is one from their captain where they've had a shaky week. They've lost clearly 2 to the rival that they're probably going to play in the first round. And it's nice to see them go into this building that they never win and find a way to pull out one, even though if it's ugly. And it's nice to see the captain get the winner by.
I got to tell you, though, like outside of the 3 goals that Toronto scored tonight, a lot of ugly. Like,
for sure, man.
Lot of like, what were the moments in this game outside of the goals?
I got to say, you know, Bertuzzi, like we'll talk about Matthews in a bit, and it's a fair conversation to have here. But Bertuzzi's been gaining a lot of positive momentum over this last little bit. One of my favorite moments of the season was him beating the brakes off whoever that was, Wotherspoon, whoever it was on Thursday night. I mean, this was his worst game as a Leaf, which is saying something because, boy, there were some, like, he had zero feel playing with those guys. It's just very clear. It's very obvious to me from the drop of the puck that he just had no feel and no chemistry and didn't know where the hell he was supposed to be. And he had built up the chemistry playing with Nylander. I get it, but it was Domi. He's playing on the wing with those 2 guys. It's different. So that to me was like, holy, that line in general. And I guess if you want to get into
I don't have a single primary offender on that line tonight. I thought they were all horrific. Like I thought Matthews better.
He hasn't had a good shift all week. He hasn't had a good shift all week. So I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, it's a little concerning. Honestly, I would say that the biggest story of this game, truly, like outside of the win, was that it's the 3rd game where Austin Matthews just like has not looked at all like himself and really hasn't had moments. The power play, you're like, oof. But yeah, it's a little bit of a reminder of how important Mitch Marner is to this team tonight and how important Mitch Marner is to that line and spreading out the talent.
I would say, yeah, the Marner thing to me, it's definitely an easy argument to make because whenever they flash out those stats and the guys have been hurt, and they're really good without everybody except Marner. They're like 500 or a little bit under 500, if I'm not mistaken. It's easy to point to the fact that they had no offensive jam tonight and Matthews didn't look good. And I would hear that argument more if he hadn't been brutal all week, right? Like it's, you know, this just looked like more of the same. Even when he had Mitch Marner on his wing, he was doing nothing for the whole week. So I think we do go through these moments and these little stretches in seasons where we've had the conversation a lot of times, you and maybe like, is he hurt? What's going on with him? Is he feeling right? Is he not right? Like, it just feels like once in a while, there's a week or 2 where he just doesn't seem engaged. And listen, hockey's really hard. You're not going to be shooting it in the net every night. It's just, what are you doing outside of shooting in the net when you're not effective, that it really jumps out to me. That's what it comes down
to. I'd like to say too, that if you're taking some times off in the season, I really don't want. No, I disagree. I really disagree. I think that the games you should be taking off are actually when you're playing the Arizonas of the world and they've lost 14.
That's his Super Bowl, bud. That's the biggest game of the year for him.
I don't really care about you filling the net against the bad teams anymore. Like you just played 2 games against Boston and a game against Montreal and on a Saturday night in Montreal, and you kind of no-showed for all 3. So like,
and in the Sabres game too. Even though he shot it in the net to end the game, he was brutal in that game too.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, and he was, I thought the best effort that he showed in the entire game was trying to score that empty netter with 3 seconds left, trying to get a cookie.
He hasn't got one all year. He's got 54. And he doesn't have a empty netter, which is crazy.
He was dying for that thing though. He was chopping at it, looking for it. Like he wanted it. It was 2 seconds left. The game's over. And he was still trying to get it towards the net. I didn't like that line. I didn't think they were good. I thought Nylander was doing the same thing, carelessness with the puck, kind of a lot of soft play, but whatever. I'm kind of not trying to be too concerned about this just because I'm saying you just came off a great streak. You just had an injury to Mitch. You had the trade deadline and all the ups and downs that come with that. And you potentially had a flu bug. I know that some people are going to think that's like massive excuse making. I'm just saying, like, we noted the bad play. We're noting that it's happening here. It's starting to build up. We're now really referencing it, but yeah, I'm going to wait until next week, at least when it's Thursday and they've had a bunch of games off and see how they start to play down that stretch.
Like this is more from a place of hoping That's what it is.
Yeah.
as opposed to being like, oh, he's like, I'm just like, I hope it's just he's sick. That's what we hope.
Hope so too. Hope so that he's just not feeling 110%.
Hope he's been on the John all week. Just, just hope that's what's been happening. Sorry, man. You sort of wish that on you, but
no, but then we're going like, what a warrior, still playing through these games, even though he had the sickness. Then it changes everything. I'm glad we don't know. Hey, Domi should shoot more.
Yep. Domi can shoot. Domi is a player who can shoot the puck. And I felt when he was playing on the wing tonight, he was feeling a little bit more like he could shoot it more. Noticed him deferring less. And, this is a great play. I love this.
Awesome.
And this is such a great moment in the building. Close to the end of the second period. You're tied. Yeah. You get to see him beat him in a race, goes in there, scores. Former Hab scored against him. Like, you love to see that. But yeah, I think, the more traditional hockey mind is if you're a center, you're more of a distributor. And if you're a winger, you're more of the shooter or whatever, right? And it seems like Domi tonight kind of took that to heart, where he is shooting it a lot more. And I thought it wasn't just this one. He was kind of putting it towards the net more than he usually does. He's still always going to be a passer, but I agree, man. Like, they probably set him down. Like, you can shoot it. You know how to shoot it. And we watch you in the shootout going bar down every time. Shoot it.
I just don't think it's going to happen, because when he was a kid, Matt Sundin told him to shoot the puck more, and he didn't take the advice then. So it's like the two bozos on Leafs talk. He's not going to move the needle for Max Domi.
Sorry, Sheldon. Even Sheldon, he's like, but Sundin told me that, and I didn't do it. So
I just love that. It's just such a high skill, awesome play where say whatever you want about Domi and the year and the flaws, whatever. The one thing I like about him is that he does seem to have a sense of the moment and a big game player type of guy in terms of the offense and the finish there. Like, that's him going full speed, gunning it down the ice, beating two defenders, and then having the wits and the skill to finish that way. Right. Like, that wasn't easy, and he made it look easy. So I love that for Domi. Big positive tonight. Matthew Nyes comes back from the injury and he's fine. And him and Bobby McMahon have some chemistry.
The big thing, and I think Simmer mentioned it, and I thought it was such a great observation, and I felt the exact same way, that he felt like he's a stud on that line, that he's not the guy that has to defer. Like, he felt like he's like, hey, I'm playing with these two guys that I see as I'm better than them, which may be the case, may not be the case, but like in his mind, he's not being like, I have to give it to Matthews and Marner. I have to give it to Matthews and Marner. My whole objective is to win a battle and get it to Matthews and Marner. He looked like a different guy to me tonight, where he looked a lot more confident, just bigger. I don't know. I liked the way he looked as opposed to playing with the two big boys. And Kampf gave him that defensive conscience. I don't think you're going to be like, hey, we're sticking with this in the playoffs, but I think it's an option that you can go to when you see it tonight. And I thought it looked really good. I like that line a lot.
Yeah, I'm not messing with Tavares in the future. Like, when you get the guys back, I'm going back McMahon, for sure. Tavares, and Yarncroc, because that has looked pretty damn good. And I think that the cool thing about them too is that they bring a different element than the other lines do, like the ways that they can score and the ways that they all play together. But yeah, it was encouraging, at least again, that listen, the regular season again is about different tests, and you don't know who's going to be healthy come playoff time. And you'd like to know that you have a bit of flexibility. I don't think it's outside the realm of possibility that at some point during a series, you're like down in a game, maybe you're bumping Max Domi up, looking for a little bit more offense with Matthews and Marner, right? Yep. You're playing him on the wing. Maybe you're bumping Nyes down for a couple shifts and looking for some more energy, and let him play with Bobby McMahon, have two big bodies, just crash. Little Bash Brothers energy from those two. I liked it. Also, really liked that McMahon on his second goal learned from his first mistake. Just shoot it, he tries to make the pass on the first play, and it doesn't work out for him. And then on the next one,
McNasty dies it. Who came up with that nickname? If you're watching on Sportsnet Plus, McNasty's no good. Sorry, whoever came up with that. It's a tough one. Sorry to Barry, our producer. No, I'll be better.
Oh, that's a tough one.
Oh, sorry. Now I feel bad.
Especially since we've done like, I don't know how many nicknames for him, and then Jose ends up with McNasty.
What was it? Yeah, like what was mine? Bar down Bobby Bullet.
Yeah, I can't remember all of them anymore.
Big Rod Bob. There's a lot
Big
of
Rod Bob was the big one that we agreed upon last time. Anyways, I like that. I like that line tonight. I like the energy from that line. Here's what I really didn't like. I want to talk about the new guys, but I just want to say, because let's clear up all the sort of negativity stuff or the downsides from this game. That first goal against, like, that is just dog effort stuff from those guys. Like, can we run this first goal? This is just horrific on all fronts. Like, look at everybody's feet here. Look at 88. Look at 34. They're just legitimately coasting. They look like they're at a skate.
Yeah.
Oh, ugly stuff from them. Anyways, yeah,
just maybe mix in a knee bend for the audience.
Push off.
Yeah, it's a really tough visual for everyone involved. Like, Matthews is not going to get there. So it's like, it's a wasted effort where you're like, I'm going to skate as hard as I can. Willie could have got there. They all could have got there. They're sleeping in the first minute of a game where you think you're going to beat the team, and they come out there and they just jump on you right away. You fall asleep. The building's rocking. And then I actually think that glass break or whatever the hell happened, and like whatever union workers they got that took 25 minutes to fix the glass, I think that helped the Leafs huge, because it just completely quieted that building. Everybody's like, crying in their coolers, figuring out what the hell's going on in there. They're just
20 minutes.
It was so long, and they got the wrong pane of glass, and they're all looking there, talking to each other. Like, fellas, it's an NHL game. Figure it out. Like, it's the Montreal Canadiens. It's the Habs. This needs to be a well-oiled machine. Get it together. And I really felt like that little break helped them a lot, and they kind of got back into that game after that. But yeah, horrible start and a tough visual. Your best guys, new line you put together, and they just dog it on the first shift. It's a tough look.
Yeah, really tough. What'd you think about the new guys?
I thought Edmundson is a big man. I wouldn't exactly say he's fleet of foot. He got ran over. No, he got ran over from behind by Slavkovsky close to the end of the game, where I thought he was hurt. He had shifts after, so that was good. I think he can be a positive contributor for sure. And I mean, I'll let you jump in on him. Your thoughts?
I actually thought that he moves better for a big guy who's had a lot of wear and tear on his body.
Yeah.
There were a couple plays where he was actually, I thought moving pretty well in transition. Tough play at the end of the game that almost ends up in the back of the net. But again, Samsonov.
But it was also like a good, bad play, because it's such a tough read. That's a tap in for Suzuki. It's like soccer, where you're trying to stop the cross and you get your foot on it. It's going in either way, and he made a play on it, and it's like, that's a risky play where you're like, well, I'm accepting the consequences here, and Sammy made a great save on it or whatever. But yeah, I wouldn't. Yeah, it's kind of a good bad play in my opinion.
I will say that just having him out on the ice when Montreal had the extra attacker and the PK and all that, I just like a guy who is big, strong, physical, is going to rip the puck out, like get the puck out, not overly complicated, but also. The thing that is a little because we all talk about the lumber, and the fact that he's going to be physical and he's going to hit guys. He's also a huge body that gets into shooting lanes, man.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there were a couple of times where Montreal was trying to kind of get to that right flank, and he was just getting in the way, making it really, really tough for Montreal to get through. I would imagine that it'd be tough for Samsonov as well a little bit, because you can have just this mutant that you've got to battle around seeing. He's massive, but. No, I liked him in that game. And I got to say, he didn't do too much, but Dewar does it for me a little. Like, I could just see.
Oh, Dewar does it, eh?
Yeah, he's
Dewar hardly newer.
Dewar, he is doing it for me, because
I just, quickly, before we move to Dewar, the play that I love from Edmundson is where Caulfield's coming through the neutral zone and he blows a shoe, and then he still has the size and length to be able to like get up, recover, and get his stick into the shooting lane. And he still gets a decent shot off, but it's from a bad spot and he's bothered. And it's like, that's the kind of thing you need. Just get in the shooting lane and get that stick in his way. I think it was on Caulfield that he did it. And he almost stumbled a bit, but he made a good play to recover. But yeah, so I just wanted to mention that before.
Before we even go to Dewar, actually, because I don't want to get too crazy about the fourth line grinder guy, but it's just, that's the type of, I'm going to go back to the blue line in a second, but I won't even go further on Dewar because there wasn't enough to see. You can just tell he plays hard and like is going to give you max effort all the time, and that's refreshing when you got the first shift of the game from the other guys. Like, I
got Dewar opinions, but I got opinions here.
You got Dewar thoughts? Okay,
I do.
I just like that he's on it. He's
for sure.
in it. He's in the mix. He's in the game. He's there. He shows up.
This is a more like big picture take about him, but I saw the interview he did pregame with, I think, Bunkis, and he just came out soaking wet face, no expression. And Kyle asked him 3 questions, and it was a 34-second interview. Like he was like, yeah, I'm happy to be a Leaf. Yeah, they asked him about being from the Paw, and he's like, yeah, it's up north. We're gritty up there. We're scrappy.
Buddy, I'll tell you right now, as a Northerner, I'm a Northerner, and the Paw is famous for tough.
Yeah.
Mother bleepers. Like that is a hard ass. I got one bud from the Paw, and that is no mess aroundsville.
He just, to me, I mean, you've been around enough hockey guys in your life. Quiet guy, off the ice, soft-spoken, those kind of weird little small guys that just go out on the ice and they turn into absolute murderers. That's what he reminds me. Like, I feel like he's going to have a moment where he goes totally squirrely and hammers somebody and gets in a big fight, and it's like a moment changing in the game. I don't think he's going to score many. I don't think he's got the greatest of hands, bit of a butcher with the puck, but he made a good pass to Holmberg, who was like fast asleep at one point where he put it on his stick in the slot.
Yeah,
but like,
I know what you're talking about. Yeah, that wasn't bad.
I do just feel like he's kind of a hockey character where he's a quiet guy that I've played with before, that the second the game started, he turns into a total squirrel, and I can just see it happening. That's my opinion on Dewar.
Again, listen, I don't disagree. I want to see him play more. I will say 2 things that listen, you can't have too much center depth, and I actually thought Kampf was all right tonight.
Yeah.
It did make me go like, what are you doing paying David Kampf when you can go get the Dewars of the world for nothing? You know, like I did have that thought where I was like, sorry, you know, that's not what's the difference between me and you. You know, that's what I thought.
Kampf is like 3 inches taller. That's the
he's bigger for sure. 3 inches taller, big. Like he's got 84 ab muscles. He's world's sexiest man. He's the man. He dominated all the games at the Matthews Estate in Arizona.
He is clearly a freak of nature.
Like I don't know if he's ever had a sip of booze ever. No. He's definitely never mixed in a dart. Like he's a machine. But yeah, I just don't think that there's I don't know if the Kampf contract was, he stays healthy. Okay. Like he plays games. So that's good. Anyway, I don't want to rag on Kampf. No. What I will say is I think both those guys are in the playoff lineup. Dewar and Edmundson. Here's the problem. Who's the guy that's out? Because Sheldon Keefe goes with 37 again tonight, says it's because he's right shot. Okay. Well, that ain't changing. So what are we doing here? Because I thought that 37 was definitely coming out, and it was uncomfortable because they were going to be back down to 5 guys who were left shots, but that they were going to have McCabe, who they felt fine about playing on the right side, and that they were going to have Brody play on the right side. Yeah. And that they were going to just force it. And Liljegren gets another opportunity tonight, and it's more of the same. The guy is, I'm sorry, he needs the same retreat as Samsonov. Samsonov should be telling him right now, you should go have some vodka with my dad at the dinner table, because that'll make you get back on track. You're broken mentally right now. He can't play. Send him to the Aaron Rodgers quiet retreat. Like he needs to be gone for a bit. I hated Keefe's quote today. Hated it. Yeah. Quite frankly, it kills me to have to sit Benoit tonight, especially here in the building. You're the coach. Yeah. You don't have to. What merit? What is this sending a message to the rest of the team? I texted you about this today. I'm not inside that room, but I know how guys talk. I know the dynamics of locker rooms. They love Benoit. They clearly love Benoit, and they scratch him for Liljegren in his hometown. Yeah. Those guys are like, what? What are we doing here? Scratching the French guy for a Saturday night game in Montreal. That's crazy. That's Babcock stuff, dude. Yeah, that's what I mean. It's nutso behavior. And I actually thought that, I don't want to get too hot takey with this, but please. I kind of thought this was Sheldon Keefe being a bit of a baby towards the front office for the deadline and not getting him another guy. And he had a little pout. We have the same brain sometimes. He had a little pout, and he was like, I'm going to put in, I still wanted a righty and you didn't get a righty and you got Edmundson. So I'll put in your guy, but I'm not taking out the right-handed shot because that's what I wanted. And yeah, I'll tell you this. everything you just said, I think is bang on. I think Benoit is a dude who has scrapped his way onto this lineup.
Yep.
He clearly plays well with McCabe. You had a set pairing. You shouldn't be messing with that. You shouldn't be doing stupid crap like this in Montreal and sitting Benoit. And like I don't think that this was a good look for Sheldon Keefe tonight at all.
Especially when he takes a penalty and you give up the goal on the power play. It's like, oh my God, it couldn't have gone worse. It's like, geez, he's just how many times has this happened in the last 2 weeks?
Look at Liljegren's body language when he takes the penalty too.
He's broken and he knows he needs a break from himself. Oh yeah. He needs a break from himself. And Show just put in our chat, Keefe on the top line tonight. They weren't very good. The rest of the group picked them up. Wow. Yeah, that's good. At least he said it.
I was going to say, I think you could be literally watching hockey for this. It could be your first game. You'd be like, the first line's not very good on the Leafs. Sound like they were bad. They were no bueno tonight. And that is the correct assessment. But yeah, to give up that goal there was a tough one. Anyway, I don't have anything else from this game. That's it for me. I will just say, like, yeah, Samsonov now is 12-2 since returning from the gulag. And yeah, I just he was solid again tonight. He made a bunch of really good saves, and
especially at the end of the game. And then neither the goals you want back.
Yeah.
Neither goals you want back, right? They're both, there's nothing he's doing about either of them. He's solid. Like we had the conversations last year, and I feel like I'm back there where it's just, capable starting goalie night for Sammy, where you're not thinking about it. He's making the saves he's supposed to make, and it's just like, he's there, and you're not being like, you're not clenching your butthole every time a shot goes towards the net. So I'm impressed. I'm really impressed because I've written this guy off a million times. You know, I said that Joe Wall is going to start game one. We have our farmers bet. Still could happen, clearly. But
I think Joe Wall is still the favorite to start game one.
I don't know, man. He's edged his way in front to me. Like he is poked his nose in front.
Like they're both just to me it's not about the play right now because it's clear that Samsonov's playing better.
Yeah,
I just think both goaltenders are good, and that Toronto, the fact that they want Wool in the net is like clear. That matters a lot, dude.
Yeah,
like that matters a lot. So Samsonov, to me, he's basically gonna have to play this way the rest of the way. Like there's no margin forever. Like the way that the fan base jumped on him after, like they all started stapling the stats from the month because of the Arizona game where they played horrifically and they let in a ton of goals, and it was like, yeah, okay. Everyone wanted him out. Everyone was like, this is done. This is over. I was like, okay, I guess so. Wait, was it Arizona? I can't remember. What was the game that he let in 5?
Well, they hung him out to dry. There was 6 that they were just like, stop trying.
One was
Vegas at home. Vegas at home.
Yeah, sorry, it wasn't Arizona. Yeah, because Arizona was the Wolves start. It was the Vegas game. It was like, yeah, you could just feel that if he has any of those games, there's just a good chance that they're going to be like, oh, okay, well, you know, that's it. That's over. You did. Yeah,
they did the horrible sin in that game where they pulled the goalie, they scored on the empty net, then they put him back in, and then they scored on the goalie. That to me is like, you should have to give up your next. That's an automatic L on your thing. You can't do that. The last thing I had was actually a Habs take. I'd like to congratulate Montreal Canadiens fans because I've watched Slavkovsky now in however many Leafs games. First time I have noticed him. So congratulations to Habs fans. First overall pick. Noticed him tonight. So congrats.
Nice. Subscribe to the podcast, leave 5 stars, follow us on Twitter and Instagram at JD Bunkis, at Sammy McKee, and hit the thumbs up if you're watching on YouTube. We'll see you next Thursday.